Hello?
Hello?
Who is this?
You tell me your name, I'll tell you mine.
Most drugs are meant for medical use. You must decide use or abuse.
This is not just my story. It reflects our collective struggle. We all carry the shadows within us, but through the connection and the vulnerability, we can become a heal.
Question of education, to teach people to be on their guard against the sort of verbal booby traps into which they're always being led, to analyze the kind of things that are said to them. I think it's terribly important to insist on individual values, that every human being is unique. And it is, of course, on this genetical basis that the whole idea of the value of freedom is based.
My name is Tom, and I'm standing here today as I'm ready to confront the shadows that haunted me. I am not just a survivor of addiction, I am the advocate for the change. Take a trip and let the darkness inside you embrace. Together, we can reshape the stigma and the potential healing of the psychedelics. By sharing my own experiences and the struggle with addiction, I hope to create a space for reflection and vulnerability.
You will never be the same, because once you've looked beyond the veil, you realize that there is a veil. And that changes your worldview forever.
I hesitate questioning that I was seeking another high, but curiosity nudged me, urging me to find a clarity amidst the chaos. I began to explore these substances with the intentions not as escape, but as a meaning of my pain. I attend the ceremonies and surrounded myself with others that understand the complexity of the human psyche.
At 11 a.m., I swallowed 4/10 of a gram of mescaline dissolved in half a glass of water and sat down to wait for the results.
I was scared. It was obvious that the more powerful LSD swept you far beyond the tender wisdom of mushrooms or cacti.
If sanity implies madness and faith implies doubt, am I basically a psychotic pretending to be sane?
When you step through the doors that psychedelics offer, you are going to be required to draw on every resource that you have as a human being. And amongst those resources, most prominently is courage. You must overcome your fear.
Under proper psychedelic guidance, I'm saying healing is actually possible.
In the spring of 1953, Humphrey Osmond, a psychiatrist, offered me the chance to take part in an experiment to further understand the psychological effects of mescaline. At 11 a.m., I swallowed 4/10 of a gram dissolved in half a glass of water and sat down to wait for the results.
This is not just my story. It reflects our collective struggle that we carry within us. But through the connection and the vulnerability, we can become the healer.
We're implied, taught that with our minds you create the world. So how we see the world, that's the world we're going to live in. What it didn't say, which is more a modern psychological insight, is that before with our minds you create the world creates our minds. So somebody who believes that the world is a horrible place lives in a very different world different universe than somebody who sees the world as beautiful and painful and capable of generating sorrow and generating joy. A world where there's cruelty and there's a lot of compassion at the same time.
Close your eyes and picture a shadow that is hunting you. What a fear is gripping your heart. Hold on this picture, because we are going to embark this journey through the addiction and the psychedelics.
Time stands still, beauty in all she is. I will be brave, I will not let anything take away. Standing in front of me, every breath, every hour has come to this. One step closer.
I leave the church and find myself at a corner gas station on a hot afternoon. Dust and exhaust fumes, the billboards half-heartedly gaudy. I find the flatness so reassuring. Nothing around here but just us, folks. It's hard work for people to constantly deny what they are, to pretend that they're not the avatars of divine beings, Brahman, Atman, and Shiva, that the cells of their bodies aren't millions of gods, that the dust isn't a haze of jewels.
The feeling that we exist as separate individuals seems so natural and obvious that it seems beyond question. The concept of the ego in spiritual traditions, both East and West, often informs not only the journey to, but also the destination of, spiritual enlightenment. In Buddhism, the egoic self as anatta, or the self as emptiness, is a fundamental principle and understanding. Anatta, or the self as already empty, suggests that the self or ego is not a permanent nor an unchanging entity. The Buddha taught that the idea that the egoic self is permanent is the very source of suffering, as it leads to attachment and desire. Thus, practitioners are encouraged to recognize the transient or empty nature of the self. This insight is at the core of enlightenment or nirvana, as the dissolution of the egoic self necessarily leads to the end of craving and aversion, and thus the end of suffering. Psychedelic use in Buddhist and Advaita Vedanta-inspired explorations is at its best integrated with elements of contemporary Western psychotherapy.
With my own experience,
Are we rolling? What the hell is going on?
Taking LSD is much the same as playing Russian roulette.
What are you doing out here? I'm floating up to the stars, Joe. You can't float out here. We're 3 stories up. Oh, no, I'm one with the universe.
Our society has been in a mental health crisis, and it's been stagnating.
The use of psychedelics is not without potential pitfalls and limitations. One may risk developing a psychological dependence. The depth and profundity of the psychedelic experience can lead one to believe that these states are only available through psychedelic substances. Another well-recognized problem is the psychological risks. These substances can induce intense, unpredictable, and uncontrollable experiences. Thus, the importance of set, the mindset of the individual, and setting, the environment in which the experience takes place, are very important in reducing these risks. Negative experiences, often referred to as bad trips, can occur, leading to confusion, anxiety, and even long-term psychological distress. For these and other reasons, traditional spiritual paths like Buddhism and Advaita Vedanta strongly suggest achieving spiritual understanding and the dissolution of the ego far more gradually. Gradual ego dissolution via disciplined practice, self-reflection, and ethical living. These practices are designed to cultivate a more stable development of awareness and understanding. A stable understanding that leads to lasting transformations in consciousness. However, it is absolutely necessary to have the tools and frameworks to integrate these insights into one's everyday life. Without a dedicated spiritual practice, these experiences can remain isolated and without a lasting impact. Therefore, psychedelics are perhaps best viewed, at best, as supplements to, rather than replacements for, the practices found within spiritual traditions.
911, state for emergency.
We need an ambulance, please.
Press 1 broadcast for welfare check. Possibly 2 subjects overdose. 911, state for emergency.
I don't know what happened. My son's dead. I need somebody here now.
At the risk of sounding hyperbolic, let me say it this way. The biggest threat to health in Fresno County is no longer COVID. It's substance use.
We only said goodbye with work. I died 100 times. You go back to her. I can go back in time.
Psychedelics from the Greek psyche, meaning mind, and delos, meaning make visible or reveal.
So many Americans been under 25. Those gathered in the park that sunny January day sought a different world.
It would be a world where people live gently on the planet without the sense that they have to exploit nature or make war upon nature and find basic security. A simpler way of life, less urban, less consumption-oriented.
The development of the conventional treatments could take years. This had led some sufferers of mental illness with an aversion to synthetic pharmaceuticals to self-medicate with the psychedelics.
We can do in 2 days what conventional therapy would take years.
It's strange. I feel like the same person, but today I feel so much lighter.
Ayahuasca saved my life, honestly.
Once they drink that cup, there is no turning back.
Psilocybin to really wake me up from my anxiety, depression, and suicidal thoughts.
It's completely different than anything I've ever experienced. Deeper, more meaningful, more life-changing.
What ayahuasca can really do, they say it can be like 10 years worth of therapy in one night. Because when you're in therapy in the West, you're talking and you're engaging the intellect. But ayahuasca makes permeable your unconscious, it opens the heart more, and it becomes very visible. Anything you've been holding in your energetic field, anything emotionally or you've suppressed can come up, and it comes up in a way that you're not attached to it. So you can entertain it, and then you can let go of it.
his brave new world of psychedelic usage has a bright future, especially for those suffering with the affliction of PTSD, depression, addiction, and physical trauma. Modern application of psychedelic substances can also offer metaphysical and spiritual experiences that very well may be life-changing for the individual.
I'm not in a good place, not at all. Everything is falling apart. I want it to stop, but I just can't. It's like I'm trapped. Like I can't ask for help. Like you won't think I am worth the time of day because I have a drug problem.
Introspective,
truthful,
spiritual,
eye-opening, novel, inspiring,
colorful,
fun,
emotional.
I was obviously reacting to, a very difficult childhood of illness that nearly killed me many times, difficult family circumstances, socially, economically, stressed out mother, absent father, and, drugs were a great comfort. So having another punisher, as it were, with the police, although, I'm sure that most of them don't even want to do it, but it is their job, what's the point?
When I did psychedelics, I think it's not so much the drug, but it's what the drug shows you. It shows you that you're telling yourself things that aren't true.
You have to decide there and then whether you're going to be a victim of that for the rest of your life or not.
It made me think, well, perhaps I'm not just a passenger on this merry-go-round.
Is that a beautiful experience, would you say? I would say yes.
There are no good or bad drugs. There are just good or bad policies.
He was very eager for me to take LSD, but I resisted the idea. Everything I had heard about lysergic acid sounded ominous. The mushrooms and peyote I had been experimenting with had grown naturally in the ground and been used for thousands of years in wise Indian cultures. LSD, on the other hand, was a laboratory product that had quickly fallen into the hands of psychiatrists and security services. I was scared. It was obvious that the more powerful LSD swept you far beyond the tender wisdom of mushrooms or cacti.
got the heart, we got the soul. Just when the world's saying they got no hope, here comes the love. We got audio. I'm flying high, superhero. S on my chest with my Marilyn Monroe. Feel like a star. We got